going to be L score, and right score, which is R score. Get value for stat. So where is, I think it's not the player state, but it's the game state or something like that. Where do we actually have that? Alright, so this will be GS, get game state, and then it's right team score. I'm going to get left team score. Alright, so get value for stat, get value for condition. Alright, so we're going to need the same thing here. Right score. Alright, so we should be able to use these now. And they are not really going to work too well, though. So what we need to do is go to our level actor, our game state, and this guy needs to broadcast the event. Do we have UI events here? We do. Alright, so we need to go to our player state. We want to grab all the player states and report the score, is that right? We need a new thing here. We need game stats. Alright, well I think that might work. So we have a new delegate that we need to bind to. We'll need to grab the game state and bind it inside of our stuff to the on-game stat changed. But we can at least call pretty much all the same stuff. So let's see it. All right. So what we want to do here is we need to go to our UI widget, which does the thing for tracked stats. It's going to need to grab the Dashkin game state. What is this? Are modifications until you are in head revision. What? Okay. Did Adam just check stuff in? Is that what's going on here? So he edited all these widgets, is what it looks like. Yeah, he needs to get that shit in there. It's really important that if he checks out an asset, that before he finishes his day, he gets that thing in there. Alright, cool. I'm glad I wasn't touching the assets until you got that in there. Because then it would have been a real pain in the ass. I think it gets locked in Perforce, so it would have at least been very angry at me. But good timing then, if it's in there now. That's one of the things that's going to maybe be more of a pain in the ass going forward is the mergeability of the UI files before was very good. You know, like the text auto resolve works real well, but going forward now, basically with all the binary UMG stuff, it's definitely gonna have. We're probably gonna have issues where people lock stuff and all that. Also, since you're here, I will change back to FATSAC mode. If you have not seen that. I'm gonna have to go through my video and find the one spot, but I basically just like broke down laughing earlier because of how freaking ridiculous FATSAC and Bitey merged together animation. Yeah, so this is the new game mode. You can play as a little FATSAC guy. He can pop the ball up. He can punch. He can kick. He can ground pound. He can wall jump. And he can run. And he can run into walls. He needs a fall animation. Yeah, he needs a lot of things. The funny part is he can't actually. He's not fast enough to like get up the slope. So he's just like, yeah, he can't do it. So the bots are over there trying to run up the slope and they can't do it. And the collision's all fucked up, so like I'm colliding with the bots. So anyway, all you need to do that once I got this checked in is this entity type. Just change it from Dashkin to FatSack, and it'll do the thing. Yeah, the air jumps are really fucking funny. Oh yeah, the FatSack dude is not rigged up for anything. It's awful. Um, that you can even play as that thing is kind of hilarious. That the systems like somehow are compensating for everything that's fucked up and not right on the animations and how all the entity is constructed. Alright, so I need this track stat. Track stat needs a get dash can game state. We need to see if it's valid. And if it is valid, we need to bind to game stat. Yeah. So this will be game stat changed. Alright, so if that is our stat, we will update. Just finished watching Graveyard of the Fireflies for the first time. What? You've never seen that movie? I watched that all the time in like high school. Like in classes in high school. Like I think that was like a required like you have to go watch this movie like thing in school. I am surprised you've never seen it before. You like watch Tonari Totoro and then you're like, oh, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna go watch Grave of the Fireflies. And you're like, ah, oh, oh, why? What? No. Alright, so I need to change the track stat. So win condition, I need a new win condition, which is going to be left goals, left score greater than or equal to 3. So let's make sure that this works. Like if they just murdered Totoro in the first scene. Just like the you know, like I think they got that scene where they firebombed the village or whatever, right? Like instead of that, it's like a bunch of Totoros running away while getting firebombed by the U.S. Army. Just like, oh no, no, Totoro, why? Ah, shit. Fucking bots. Bots are the devil. Oh, you motherfucker. You saw that defense that they had there? That was complete bullshit. Oh my god. These fucking bots. Alright, we did get the left score. Though if you did see it looked like it was the wrong colored bitey head for right score. Wonder why that is. Alright, so let's make sure that the conditions for this work. I'm gonna lose. Alright, so now I need wall jumps. Oh, shit. No, I ran out of time, the wall jumps. But it does look like the left score and everything else worked there, so... Excellent. Let's take out those damn bots. Get ready 123 is misaligned on retry because of camera changes? Yeah, the camera, what, it's moved over to the right to lead the player and everything like that? So I don't think it's misaligned, it's just, you know, it's still in the middle of the screen. It's just the player's not in the middle of the screen. Right, it's... So what you're asking for is that the camera centers on the player when it does that, when it resets the player. Alright, so we need more lands. Okay, now we need wall jumps. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then air jumps. There we go. It all worked. Let's take a look at the widgets for this thing. Or that score. What is the score image? We've got goal 2 red. And in the graph we have red texture, blue text. Yeah, so I don't know if you're able to see this, but the red texture and blue texture need to be set. So the blue texture right now, you've set it to goal 2 red. So probably need to fix that guy. But I'm not gonna check it out, so you can fix that if you got it open. Alright, so we've got that. What's my next thing? A collectible object. So that was the score stat for left and right. Basically right now, the score is for your player's score. So now there's a concept of left score and right score, which is actually the game scores. So we have rules basically where you have to score the goals is score, and left score is your whole team's score combined. You don't have it open at the moment. Okay, then I can just go fix it then. So blue texture needs to be what, goal Gold tube blue actually exists, so there we go. Yeah, another thing is make sure to start deleting stuff when it's, you know, not used anymore. The other thing, of course, is these pictures. You need to make sure all of them are user interface compression. Also, start taking more attention in terms of the size of these objects. So if it's a, you know, like a 448 by 448, like we really need to start doing, you know, 512 by 512 or 256 by 256, and make sure that they're not unnecessarily large. So if you're, you know, popping it up for a score widget, which is only covering a very small amount of it, it's much more important with the UMG stuff, I think, that we start having a clean house on the sizes of objects and have different sizes of these things. So if you sometimes use a very large image of this, you know, let's have a large version of it and all that. But yeah, the compression settings. The reason for the compression settings difference is it really makes a difference on some things. Let me see if I can find a good difference. So for this guy, if I make the default compression, like if I zoom way in, maybe this will be real obvious, but user interface compression looks like this, and default compression looks like that. And you can see there's these blocks that start forming around the bright patches. So, and it looks real fuzzy compared to, you know, the user interface texture where everything is nice in there. So it's really important with user interface stuff that we use the right compression settings, or it's going to look real bad. And it is a pain in the ass to remember it. So that's a thing that I wish wasn't such a pain in the butt, but it is, so we just got to deal with it. Alright, so I'd like a collectible object, and then a collectible object stat, and then a collectible object arrow. So let's go ahead and add the stat itself. Also, start fixing up those redirectors whenever you see them. And if you do not have redirectors enabled in the content browser, enable redirectors, and whenever you rename stuff, make sure to go through and fix up redirectors regularly. Otherwise, we're going to run into, if you remember all those like name change things, that was such a pain in the ass before. It's like, what the fuck, I can't change the name to the file, it's still in Perforce. Yeah, redirectors. Yeah, redirectors. Wish it was simpler. Alright, so let's add the stat. So All right, let's go to our object here. In data objects. So we need a this is objects collected. Let's generate that out. Hello, yes, I'm strange. Are you open for Q&A? As in, can you ask me questions? Because sure, go for it. Whatever you want to talk about. Sans, I don't want to talk about politics on my stream because it's just a way to fuck up your life. But if you got any questions about programming and all that stuff, hopefully I can take a stab at it. Or if you just want to bitch about something, I will join in the bitching because I like to complain a lot. So that's always appreciated. Something to complain about is since I complain so often, sometimes I run out of things to complain about, and that's a problem. Alright, so I need to add to the level utils, same thing here for the local player state, gameplay stats, objects, collected. So this is stats, objects collected. Alright, this one is collect. Grab collect. So yeah, if you had a question there, go for it. Otherwise don't. Let's see. Our score. This is collect. Objects collected. Because that's what we need, is we need more MacGuffins. We always need more MacGuffins. Alright, our player state is going to need a thing here for this guy. We're going to need on object collected. So where is our player state .cpp? On object collected, we want ball lands, objects collected. Simply collect and collect. And I think we need to go to our game data and we need this objects collected. Set. And do we need to add transformation utils? Let's get that set. Alright, I think I got all those. So we'll see when this thing finishes failing if we can kick it off and make it succeed. Let's see, anything on the forums? Schedule games and volunteer for playtest. What do you guys say? I haven't been able to catch anyone online yet. I'd really try this game out. Is anyone up for scheduling games or get online? Here, let's go ahead and reply. Try catching us devs on the weekends, especially when we update the game every about 3 weeks. The other one was, let's go to our mod control panel, make sure we have moderation set. Let's see. Volunteer for playtest was Devil23 saying that they wanna volunteer. Can has playtest. Yeah, just wait for Friday and we'll see if we can get you that free code there, Devil23. The old playtest scheduling thing was way before we were even out, is when we were looking for that. Those were all the first round testers on Christmas Eve of last year when we released it. Everybody got a Christmas present of a code in the mail. Oh man, I changed game data.h. Ah shit, I gotta rebuild everything. Well, that's just how it is. I was talking to the Maelstrom guys earlier about what more long-term features they're going to need, and they're going to need some help with crash collection. So I'll probably be working on that maybe sometime next week or after that, but basically we're going to need a crash collection. The Unreal Crash Reporter needs a back-end collection server that it can report to, and then we need like a crash processing server which basically can process the crashes, spit out the call stacks, and shove all that into the right place, and then you can go view it. And Unreal's got all these tools to do that. A fat sack and a pear tree. It's true. Though, I mean, that would be a difficult thing for a fat sack to do. I mean, how would a fat sack physically get into a pear tree? Probably it was put there by a malevolent Dashkin of some sort, because they don't just fly. I mean, you saw earlier when we were playing as them. They can't jump or shit. And last time I saw a pear tree, it wasn't next to like a ledge you could fall off into the tree into the tree from. So. They can only climb downwards very fast. See, it just popped in my head for some reason, the idea of fat sacks, being able to get into trees. They'd have to have some sort of, stairs system and a platform and then something to jump off of, which immediately made me think of what would a fat sack water park look like? Because they'd have to have slip and slides, right? And you'd have these big long staircases to get to the top of them so you can wait in line. And I imagine just that Dashkin would be the people watching the rides. So what you'd end up with is a whole bunch of Dashkin just like cramming fat sacks into the water slide. Just be like, "Go have fun, you little bastards!" And they're all tumbling down the water slide, and like a bunch of fat sacks sitting around in a wave pool, just like bobbing up and down, and little dude like in an inner tube, just poking his head out. It'd be probably a pretty fun water park to visit. Alright, so we need to create a new game mode, a Fat Sack Water Park. I mean, that's basically the Pebble Cave, right? Where we got the fat sacks floating down the river and waving their arms like idiots. Okay, so we're going to need a new object. So let's just make collectibles. So let's make a new object. I think it's what should we make this from? We have indicator, level actor, object actor. I think we can just do it from object actor, right? So let's make a new blueprint class. Let's make it from object actor. So this will be BP collectible. Oh yes, I'm strange. How long did it take you to learn C++ and be able to use it with Unreal? Doing C# with Unity at the moment, but I kind of want to make the switch. Well, I already knew C++ before starting on this, and that's probably really important. Unreal pretty much requires you to know C++ if you're really going to use it in a professional sense, because the blueprints don't cover everything. There are things that you can only do in C++, and it's really frustrating if you don't know it and you can't just go make something happen in C++. How long did it take to learn C++? I went to college for 4 years to learn how to program games, and I've been in the game industry for 12 years. I mean, 8 years. So it's about 12 years of programming total. But for C++, and learning how Unreal uses it. We've been using Unreal for about 16 months. But I mean, if you're thinking about, if you don't already know C++ and you're thinking about switching, I wouldn't switch from Unity to Unreal just because I wanted to learn C++. I would switch because of other reasons, like I don't like Unity's lighting system, I want to use Unreal's, or I want to get a job at like Riot Games and they use Unreal 4 for stuff, so I should learn Unreal 4. Like, I would make the switch for those reasons. Because Unity is a fine engine. We just don't use it. So that's it. So, do we have any meshes that could be used for a collectible object? So let's see what we have. Yeah, I think there's some Easter eggs. There's a the middle finger drawn on the stump. Classic Adam. What, geometry in the geometry directory? I don't think so. That seems like a really poor design choice. I think I'll just use the ball unless there's a reason not to. So we've got this ball mesh. All right. So let's see if I just drag this over here. So we have a static mesh component and a default root. All right. So let's go and let's go to our test content test levels. Go to our prototype for the arena test level. Let's go to our sublevels. So let's go into sublevel 1. And let's go ahead and add our collectible to this sublevel. Oh man, that thing is tiny. Yeah, it's just so small. Alright, so we got that guy there. So there's a collectible. Let's set its location. Whoops. Let's put him up there. So if we boot into this level, you want to use Unreal for better performance. You know, use the C++, that's why I want to know how long it takes to learn C++. Always wanted to learn C++ for robotics. Yeah, that makes sense. Like C and C++. Yeah. I don't know if I have to start with C and build up to C++ rather. No, C and C++ are separate languages. It's probably easier to learn C and go to C++ because C is less complicated than C++. But if you don't really care to learn C directly, there's no reason to learn C before C++, other than like if you're just doing academic programming, right? Did you put a shear on this instead of italics? Is that what you did? I want to look at the clock. No, I'm an idiot. No, I'm looking at the WebKit UI. That's because I would have lauded your creativity if you had if it had occurred to you to share the damn thing. So it would have been like, Adam, he's gotten smarter. It never occurred to me that a share could do the italics. But my condescending tone has been preserved, and I can continue being an asshole. So very good. You like a challenge, so just go for C++. Yeah, exactly. If you want to learn C++ and you want to do that, Unreal 4 is an engine that uses it. Performance, you're definitely going to want. It's definitely nice to be able to write stuff in C++. That's real expensive. Like I have all these water calculations and flow field stuff, and it's real nice to just be like, all right, I can write it all in C++ and do things very quickly. So that's pretty awesome. Alright, so let's boot into the second challenge level. It should load up the sub-level. And we should see our collectible object. So 10 seconds, and then we're going to load our sub-level. There is our object. Excellent. So let's go to this guy. Let's do our... What should we do with it? This should be like environment body. So environment body is going to... Well, this should be environment hit, right? So it's going to do overlap with player body and player attack. So the player body can move into this thing and it will work. So what we want to do then is in the collectible event, let's go to our graph. So let's bind to the overlap. Event actor begin overlap. Event this actor, for example, walking into a trigger, other actor. Oh, okay. So we already have this, but maybe we should make another event. So this is ball overlap. Alright, let's see. I like the challenge. Alright, any suggestions where to learn C++? Or are you asking where to learn Unreal Engine? Or both? As for learning C++, the most important thing for learning C++ or learning any language, I believe, is to have people around you who are also learning and that you can collaborate with. Other people keep you motivated. Also, other people who are also learning is important because you can be right and help each other on things. It kind of sucks if you're always the worst person at something, because then that could be very demotivating, I think. Because you're like, ah, shit, you know, this other guy just so much better than I am all the time. It just pisses me off. So it's important to have somebody learning as well, I think. So I would say take a class. Of course, C++ and Unity isn't brought well by the teacher. So yeah, I don't really have a good answer for that. I mean, I would basically say, like, to anybody learning how to program, I would say go to a college, and if you want to do game programming, go to a game programming college that does large projects. But just picking up a language, I mean, the best... If you already know the concepts behind basic programming and data structures, the most important thing for learning a language is just your butt in a chair typing out code. And the best way to do that is to work with other people so that you have a reason to be sitting in that chair doing something. Alright, so this is going to be an entity actor. So if it's an entity actor, and this is, yeah, let's see, is valid. then we want to know is yeah, let's go ahead and play a parrot sound effect when we do this. That way I can just jump into it and do the thing. C++ for dummies it is. Yeah, I would, if you already know programming concepts like C# and everything, C# probably good for learning all the basic data structures. C++ can be kind of a rough language if you don't know memory management stuff. But there's only one way to learn, right? At least there's only one way for me to learn, and that's to fuck everything up over and over again until I can start getting it right. So it looks like our overlap events aren't getting thrown. Why is that? Is it because generate overlap events is there? What other things do we have for overlap events? I had an overlap event on the actor for load sublevel 2.